Hello and welcome to Daily Faith. Boy, am I excited to have you with us. We have got a show today. We are so excited. I'm sorry we're a little bit late. I had a wonderful phone call from Moldova today, one of our original girls that we rescued many years ago. A wee girl of, oh dear, she must have been 10, 12. And she's now a happily married woman with a lovely husband. His name is George, and he works literally building our village in Vatra Village. And this morning she says, "Can I call you?" And I said, "Sure." And when she called me, Luda told me that she is having her second child, and I am so excited. I am the grandfather of many children all over the world, and it is the great reward of my life to watch the kids that I found when no one wanted them, and to watch them grow up to be educated. Luda is a lawyer, and she has been, and also a qualified teacher. And so she is just one of the miracles of our ministry. So because of that phone call, everything can I put back, because that's really important. I am so glad you can be with me today. If you could, hit your share button, your like button, have a watch party. We got some exciting news coming up to tell you today on the program regarding our growth and our expansion for Daily Faith. And there's a wee bell somewhere on your screen, Andrew keeps telling me. I can never find the ones on my screen because basically I'm a dinosaur. But they tell me that on your screen there is a bell. And if you click that bell, every time we come on the air, you know about it. And I'd love you to hit that bell. And also, if you could go to youtube.com/dailyfaith, and you can say, subscribe to that. And my sons keep telling me when I get to 1,000, I don't think I'm ever going to get to 1,000. It's taking so long because you people aren't responding. I sound like Hillary Clinton when she got mad one day. Why doesn't everyone vote for me? Anyway, but if you go to YouTube and click on subscribe, they tell me when I get to 1,000 subscribers, it doesn't cost anything. You just hit the subscribe button. When you do that, when it gets to 1,000, that YouTube is going to send me some money. Now, I heard the other day, I was watching something about YouTube, and some kids are getting $200,000 a month from YouTube for testing toys and the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life. So please help me, go to YouTube. And also our main place where you can watch us online is dailyfaith.tv, dailyfaith.tv. And I'm telling you now, as we move forward, as we speak about things that are relevant to today and what the society is going through, some of the social platforms are not happy with the gospel. And I wouldn't be surprised if in days ahead they are already curtailing us. I wouldn't be surprised if they really do. But I am so excited. Oh, I've got one of my favorite people in the world. Zach Drew is with us. This is a man that has applied himself to wisdom and knowledge, and he studies and researches and takes unbelievable care to discover what's going on in the world around us. And I am so honored to have him on as my guest today in Daily Faith. I'm delighted you're with me, and I can't wait for this hour. Welcome to Daily Faith. Hello, I'm Philip Cameron. Welcome to Daily Faith. I'm so glad you could join with me with one of my favorite guests in the world, Zach Drew. And he's got some incredible new news about cryptocurrency and a bunch of other things that are relevant in the day we live on. I got a text the other day, or yesterday, it was last night maybe, from Moldova. And those of you that support our ministry and are part of Daily Faith, you know that my heartbeat is for the orphanages that we support and build in Eastern Europe, in Moldova and Ukraine. We have a village of homes, a gorgeous village of homes. It was built originally for rich people as summer holiday homes, dakas. It's 100 yards away from the largest lake in Moldova. And they tried to clean the lake up and put chlorine in the lake and killed the lake and killed this building project as well. And we bought it 85% complete. And we took these houses that have been sitting for 9 years. No one's ever slept in them. No one's ever stayed in them. And we began to work on them, and we are slowly getting them finished one by one. And as soon as we finish them, they are filled with young people that we rescue from the grip of the trafficker. And these kids are turning from orphans to sons and daughters into missionaries. And it's the missionary part I want to talk to you about today. This is really exciting. If you're a missionary and you've involved yourself in rescuing kids, and then you get a video, you put yourself in my heart. I imagine last night when Pavel, one of our house parents, just took this on his phone. It isn't the greatest quality video, but what it is miraculous. You're about to see some of the kids that we've rescued that now live in Vatra village, in a church, a little church in the middle of nowhere, in a village where most people don't even know it exists. But our kids becoming missionaries and being missionaries to bring the gospel to the lost. And what they do is they go to a village, they bring all the kids in from the village and have tremendous outreach ministries to these kids, and lives are transformed forever. I want you to watch this short video. This will bless your heart. This is what I got last night.
This is such a happy day, such a happy day, what a happy day, this is such a happy day, and I'll fly like a bird. I'm strong as a lion. I'm as high as a mountain in the sky.
And I don't know if you noticed that, but if you'll notice, the girls that have been with us for a while are up front. And the newest kids are in the back row. And they're doing the actions and learning what to do, because when they come as orphans, they become sons and daughters. And then our kids, this is a crazy thing, our kids are now showing the new kids how to witness and minister to young kids. Watch this, another short video, watch this.
Dar nu renunț, strig către El. Mi-am ridicat fruntea crestată, Satan mi-a spus că e stăpân pe lumea asta și că toate mie mi-ar da de îl ascult. În glasul lui e viclenie, de atâtea ori m-a tulburat, din pietre pâine-mi cere mie.
That's what the gospel is all about. So these kids, and if you can put a still shot up, Philip, the girl on the right-hand side in that picture. I don't know if you can do that or not. Well, you just run video over the top if you can. The girl on the right-hand side, don't you see? Her name is Catalina. And that young girl, she is 21, one of the senior kids in our church. That girl on the right-hand side. Her name is Catalina, and she is a mission, an evangelist. And she called me this last Friday, and she says, Dad, we have an opportunity to have a youth camp, and there's 150 kids already coming. And that is the miracle of miracles. And what happened is, in the camp she's had before, if you remember, if you watched our program, Catalina went to the chief of police when they didn't have any camps because of the pandemic. And she called me, she says, Dad, I want to have a kids camp. I said, you can't do that. There's nothing being moved. She said, Jesus told me. And how do you argue against Jesus told me? So she went to the chief of police and he said, yes, you can have a camp. So they had a camp. And 30 kids said, we're going to come, which in a pandemic is a ridiculous amount of kids. And 60 showed up. And of the 60 that came, 30 were born again and baptized in the Holy Spirit. I mean, baptized in the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues, prophesying, orphans that have been lost in darkness. That's the power of the gospel. And when you are part of us, when you become a sponsor of these kids, $1 a day won't change your world, but $1 a day has completely changed theirs. Someone like you decided, a while back to say, listen, I'll be part of the Orphan's Hands. I'll join with Philip and change lives. It doesn't make a difference to you financially. $30 a day is loose change, just a few quarters every day, less than a can of Coke, certainly less than a gallon of gas these days. But when you help us, you're allowing us to change kids' lives for eternity. And if you've got a young person in your family, you've got a son that's lost, a daughter that's lost, a grandchild that's lost, and you're saying, God, please save my family, I'm challenging you to help me to save someone else's family. The Bible says that God is the father of the fatherless. And I promise you, if you help save his kids, you're going to find favor in saving your own. And if you want to help us, you can give a monthly gift or a one-time gift. If you feel to give a one-time gift, that's great as well. And if you'd like to help us, you can go to Daily Faith, P.O. Box 25, Clinton, Tennessee, 37716. Really simple. Clinton, Tennessee, P.O. Box 25. 25, I've mixed that all up, haven't I, Andrew? He's shaking his head at me right now. He's going, what have you done? You've killed our address. It's the Orphan's Hands or Daily Faith, whichever one. P.O. Box 25, Clinton, Tennessee, 37716. I have the great joy of being a father sitting here talking to you, and 6 feet away is a son that is perfect. He makes no mistakes. And whenever I make a mistake, it just drives him crazy. And you can also get in contact with us at dailyfaith.tv. And why don't you today say, I want to be a part of changing someone's life for the kingdom of God? If you do, I want to send you this book. My son normally has it ready, but he must have forgot. I won't be angry with him, even though he's upset with me. This here is called a brand new book, Our Bummer Lamb. It's the story of how I adopted this fella when he was 3 years of age, starving in an orphanage with no hope. His mother had abandoned him at 2 weeks old. I found him literally starving, sick. And the Lord says, this is your son. And he became our bummer lamb. Watch this short video to help you understand what a bummer lamb is. A lamb that has been rejected by its mother is called a bummer lamb. Once its mother abandons her lamb, it is forever. The lamb will die broken unless a shepherd rescues it. He takes the lamb into his home, feeds, cares, and redeems the broken animal. When returned to the flock, that bummer lamb never forgets the one who redeemed it. Standing abandoned in a Romanian orphanage, my wife Chrissy and I found a bummer lamb. His name was Andre. This book is the story of how a family made room for a little forsaken bummer lamb. It is the story of us all. We stand redeemed by the care of the Good Shepherd. And your gift to the Orphan's Hands will help us continue and expand what we're doing. We can't build houses fast enough to care for the kids that are being abandoned and lost to trafficking. One girl trafficked by the trafficker will make $300,000 a year for the trafficker. One girl. If he gets 3 girls, he's making $1 million a year for a few scraps of food and a little bit of dope to keep them subdued. And they use them, they lie them down in a bed and they use them 30 to 50 times a day until they kill them. And the only answer, awareness doesn't work. All these kids knew about the traffickers in the orphanage. A bed works, a home works, school works, the gospel works. And that is what we are all about. And your one-time gift or monthly support, $1 a day won't change your world, but it changes theirs. I'll send you this brand new book called Our Bummer Lamb. It will bless you. In fact, this last weekend, we're talking to a dear friend of our ministry, and he has sent this book to a movie maker in California. He said, I've read the book. I don't read much books, and I could not put this book down. He says it should be a movie. So at this moment, that's what we're in the middle of talking about. So pray with us that comes to pass as well. Get that afterwards. Let me give you the address one more time so I can make my son Andrew happy. It's just Daily Faith, P.O. Box 25, Clinton, Tennessee, 37716. 25, P.O. Box 25, Clinton, Tennessee, 37716, or dailyfaith.tv. And you can do that right now and change someone's life. You can also give by phone, 1-833 Daily Faith. 1-833-DAILY FAITH. And someone is there to take your call right this minute, and we'll be able to help you help us change lives. Listen, I've known Zach Drew for many years. I first met him as a young man on Jim Bakker's program. And the more I watched Jim's program, and Jim is a lifelong friend of mine. I first met him when I was 14. And so I've known him all my life. I'm on the board of his ministry. But I watched this kid on the right-hand side. And whenever facts and figures needed to be spoken, whenever heavy research needed to be done, Zach would take his position on the TV. And I watched him and I thought, wow, I was impressed, so impressed by him. And God has led him, and he is growing this incredible ministry that he has. And he now has a Zach Drew show. It's seen on CTN, it's seen all over America. And I'm one of his fans. I think he is really doing something important. Listen to me. Zach Drew is doing something important in the body of Christ right now. And that is informing us. Because we have no idea what's going on in this world. Let me tell you. There is a plot that's bigger than you can ever imagine going out right now, being implemented as we speak by people who does not have freedom in their hearts. They certainly don't have the gospel in their hearts. And it's men like Zach Drew that's watching and researching and digging and finding. And sometimes the stuff he finds, I'm sure he wishes he didn't. And I'm always thrilled. I wish I could do this at least once a month, Zach, because I love you being with me. Will you welcome Zach Drew with me? How are you doing, my brother? God bless you.
Thank you. Yes, doing well. I've said before, I love coming on Daily Faith with you. You're like an uncle to me, and I'm just glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know what me being uncle means. I'm old or not, but I'm glad to be anything related to Zach Drew. Tell us what's happening with this show. I know it's growing.
Yeah, it is. So we're expanding our base. We're expanding our potential homes to be viewed in. You know, we're on Facebook and YouTube and Apple TV and Roku and Apple Podcasts and all the regular places. But we're now on Comcast Cable through the PTL Television Network in 6 large markets. And now, as of January of this year, we are on CTN through DirecTV and Dish Network every single Monday.
That's huge.
So tune in there. And that's the smallest of cities and the largest of cities. If you have DirecTV or Dish Network, you can watch us every single Monday on CTN.
That's amazing. So it's called the Zach Drew Show, and you can watch him. You can watch him. You can go to his website, I'm sure, and get on-demand stuff.
Yep.
But he is on every Monday at what time? 7?
It'll be 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. 7:30
a.m. Eastern Time on the CTN network. Bob and Jane DeAndre are dear friends of mine for about 4 decades. That's how long we go back. Tell us what we are living, Zach, right now in the most unbelievable Alice in Wonderland, down the rabbit hole insanity in this country. I keep thinking, well, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And then 5 minutes later, that's the most, it seems like they're going along the line trying to push every button pointed at the Christians. It feels that way. They're always talking about being persecuted. I feel as a Christian, I'm being persecuted because of the stand they're taking on so many wrong things. Can you give us a synopsis, an overview of what's happening in the world today?
Yes, I sure can. So we look at the political world and we can see the times that we're living in. We can look at the social agendas and the advancement of, just whether it's LGBT or just the, even abortion up to birth, or, just these Marxist philosophies invading our schools, our universities, and even our churches. The adoption of the postmodern view that truth is subjective rather than objective, that truth is whatever you make it. We see those things, and we know that that's one particular category. Then we know big tech, and to make it as simple as possible, we just know that big tech is bad, right? Whether it's Google or Facebook or Twitter, they censor, they simply just delete conservatives' pages. They've deleted many of my friends that are Christians' YouTube's channels. And all of this plays into the prophetic end time scripture. But one avenue that many people do not study enough, I feel, is how the future advancement of technology is going to accelerate the end times.
Wow.
I do not know. And listen, before this program ends, Jesus could come back. And I understand that. But I don't think he will. It is of my opinion that there are certain advancements that have to be done in the world of technology for certain scriptures to be fulfilled. Okay. You read about how the Antichrist will rule and reign. You read about what the world will be like, how he'll have control over everything, whether it's just people, marking the world, whether it's complete control over commerce. You read these things. You read these things like the statue taking life and been able to, perform signs and wonders. I believe that as it was in the days of Noah, where I think that in that particular time when the sons of God came down and took the daughters of Eve, that you can read these stories of even just secular history books of what Egypt was like thousands of years ago, that they had electricity, they had indoor plumbing, they had radical things. Where did it go, right? I believe that in that time, that technology was so advanced that it actually became indistinguishable from magic. And Jesus said that as it was in the days of Noah, so it will be again in the coming of the Son of Man. And for these certain, for certain types of control to take place in the world through a world sovereign like the son of perdition, the Antichrist, there will have to be certain technological advances that I've been studying for years now that are really gaining speed right now.
Wow. It doesn't say in the scripture that the whole world, the mark of the beast or this perdition, son of perdition, he'll be in control. I mean, wherever you go, you'll see him. And some have said that's hologram technology that will be used for that kind of stuff. Is that accurate?
It is. But something else that is likely to take place is that, there are several of the elite in this world, whether it be, Ray Kurzweil, the director of engineering at Google, whether it be Elon Musk, whether it be Brian Johnson of Braintree, the movers and shakers in the technology industry would like to actually, and I know this isn't news as far as they would like to put a chip within our bodies, okay? But the chips that they would like to put in our bodies, people don't understand exactly what that would do to us as humans. Their goal is to literally make us one with artificial intelligence. You see, for those of you that know me a little bit, I was with Jim Baker for many years, and then I went down to Vero Beach, Florida, to work for True News. And while there, I was a correspondent for Next Tech News, and we traveled to many places around the world to learn about the future of technology. And just to put like a monetary value on it, these were very expensive conferences that we were going to, and not just your average Joe could go to these. You had, if it was a 2-day conference, some of the times these conferences were $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 per person. I mean, and it was the CEOs of major companies speaking to us. There was a team of about 7 or 8 of us who would travel to these technology conferences. And, between us, we ended up going to places like Beijing and Hong Kong, different places in South Korea. We went to London, Spain, Switzerland, and places in the United States too, like Vegas and Silicon Valley a few different times. But what these people would often say, Philip, and I believe them, you see, I was in the rooms where they were discussing the technology that they were building and what it would look like 10, 20, and 30 years into the future. It was an unbelievable time. Now, these people it was very interesting that the vast majority of those at the conference and those leading this are atheists. And I don't even know what you want to make of that. And so I was absolutely in the minority. and they would say certain things and not having, not believing in God, not
Biblical,
knowing,
yeah.
knowing or reading the Bible.
Yeah.
They wouldn't realize what they were saying, and it was unbelievable. But one of the things that they would often say, Philip, is that we have now entered the fourth industrial revolution. And this revolution is going to disrupt almost every other industry in the world. So let's kind of go back to fifth grade for a moment, okay? And let's talk about the previous, just for a couple of minutes, the previous industrial revolutions that have taken place throughout the world. So it was the year 1760 to around the year 1840. You remember this from school. That period of time from 1760 to 1840, it was called the Industrial Revolution. And during the Industrial Revolution, it was the rise of the iron and textile industries and the development of the steam engine.
Steam engine.
So it was basically that
A
particular
Scotsman.
time, it was the process.
Robert-
What's that?
Robert Louis Stevenson, a Scotsman. I just had to say that. I'm sorry.
There you go. My hat is off, Tim.
He invented
The
this steam
process.
engine.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. See, I didn't have the exact name, and so that particular industrial revolution, it was the process of going from hand production to machine production.
Mass production, yeah.
That is what the world was changed. Okay, and what I'm going to say is this: is that before that time, let's say you would go 100 years into the past, so you were at 1660 rather than 1760. If you would have told them what was going to be accomplished between the year 1760 and 1840, they would not have believed you. They would have told you it was absolutely sci-fi, correct?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
now looking back, we could never imagine the world if that industrial revolution had not taken place. We would still be out plowing. I mean, we would literally look like the Amish still today. That is what the world would basically look like. That was the first industrial revolution. The second was from 1870 to 1914. It was known as the second industrial revolution. And it's known as the technological revolution. So it was and it was known better as the technological revolution. The advent of public electricity, the light bulb, telephone, the internal combustion engine, which, as you know, led to what? It led to cars. It led to airplanes. We cannot imagine the world if that one did not take place. And once again, going back further than that, people looking to the future could never have even imagined. So sci-fi. I mean, Stargate SG-1. What a telephone, a light, public electricity. What do you mean, airplanes? What? 40,000 feet into the air. Oh, you're absurd. This is ridiculous. Second, now looking back, can't imagine it didn't happen. Changed our lives.
Incredible.
Then we go into the third industrial revolution, and it started in the 1980s. And it was known as the digital revolution.
Digital, yeah.
Now, this one was characterized as moving everything from analog electric to mechanical devices to digital technology. And many, many, many things were created during this time period, but it is obviously the best known for the personal computer and the internet. Once again, we cannot imagine the world if that had not taken place. I can't imagine it.
My first cell phone was like a suitcase, and my secretary called me up one day. She says, "You need a cell phone." I says, "Why do I need a cell phone? Who on earth would ever be interested in using a cell phone?" Her name is Lisa. Still works for me. I says, "Lisa, don't be silly. Why would you wait?" So she got one. And this thing with a clip-on handle and antenna this big, and you'd carry it out, lug it around with you. And I'm thinking, this is the dumbest thing I ever saw. Oh boy.
And now you can't imagine not having your cell phone apart from you.
It's true.
It's almost as if it's
my
become
dad
one
said
with
to
us
me,
already.
My dad said to me at the beginning, my dad's been dead before the iPhone developed. And I have an iPad that I watch soccer on. I love soccer. And I'll say to my son Andrew, driving somewhere 80 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour down the road, and watching an iPad and live from the United Kingdom. and I'm watching them playing live in Old Trafford. Manchester United is my favorite team. And I'll say to Andrew, if my dad could see this device that he could sit, it's this thin, and he can sit and watch television live from Britain, he would have said to me, Philip Cameron, this is the most unbelievable thing I've ever witnessed in my life. That's the difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now technology is it's an exponential form.
Yep.
We are doubling technological advances every 18 months.
Oh my goodness.
And that is why right now, and people don't even understand the significance of the time period that we're in right now, because we have in 2021, and it started about 3 years ago or so, if I really put a date on it, we've entered into the fourth industrial revolution. And the fourth industrial revolution, it's building off of the digital revolution. And the fourth industrial revolution is going to be characterized by, quote, representing new ways in which technology becomes embedded within societies and the human body. The new revolution will be marked by nanotechnology, quantum computing, autonomous vehicles, robotics, artificial intelligence, emerging blockchain technologies, that's like cryptocurrency, and all things IoT, which means Internet of Things devices. The new era will disrupt almost every other industry in the world. So yes, it's going to be represented by in new ways in which technology becomes embedded within societies and even the human body. And
That's
think
terrifying.
about this.
Terrifying.
There will be a day where those living on the earth will look back and they won't be able to imagine a life in which we aren't embedded with technology.
So
That is where we are today.
You're telling us. No, I know this enough, Zach. That there are things that you know that you can't talk about on air. There are things that you've discovered that would literally set fire to the chicken house. And but are you telling me that we will be chipped, for a better word, like the mark of the beast in the Bible discusses, but couldn't they? Of course, they didn't understand the chip that they're talking about. Or is there new processes that they will use?
So I believe that it'll become as simple as kind of more of like LASIK. It's not going to be some crazy invading of our skull to put chips in. As the advancement of technology takes place, it will become more and more simple. And you might think you might be too old-fashioned and conservative to ever think you would do anything like that. Well, as we know, there is about 50 million plus people in America that do not agree with our way of life. So,
Yeah.
Will they? I think so. And so right now, I have an article here that says Elon Musk says Neuralink. So Neuralink is a company that he owns, and it is studying BCIs, which is brain to computer interfaces. And he says that they could start implanting chips into human brains later this year. And they're making radical advances right now. This is one of those articles I'm going to read next that you laugh at. Like, well, that's pretty crazy. But really just sit there and think about the implications of this.
Oh, my God.
Elon Musk says he has wired up a monkey's brain to play video games. Elon Musk says one of his startups has a monkey with wires going into its brain that's able to play video games. He's a happy monkey, said Musk.
Oh.
He said videos of the plugged-in simians would be released soon, perhaps in around a month. We have a monkey with a wireless implant in their skull with tiny wires who can play video games with his mind. You can see where the implant is, and he's a happy monkey. Musk explained that the goal with the brain linking technology is addressing brain and spinal injuries. That's the initial phase.
Sure, that's
and making
part
up
of it,
people's lost capacity with an implanted chip. Now,
oh my Lord.
Understand that what this means is that he has these little wires going to his brain in this monkey, and they're literally seeing his brain activities and in which his neurons are firing to different locations within his brain, and they're able to determine what the monkey is thinking, and he can control the video game computer that is in front of him. There was another additional study in which they sat down several individuals and they had them listen to, I don't remember what it was. It was like you could pick between 1 or 50 different songs. And the AI did not know what song you were listening to, but it would measure your brain activity, in which way the neurons were firing, and it would be able to tell you. And this is 2021. This is the infancy of this technology. And they were able to tell you with nearly 90% accuracy.
What song are you listening to?
There was about 50 different songs that the subjects in this case study could listen to. And whenever they would pick the song and no one else would know what song they picked, the AI would not know initially what song they picked. That was up to the subject. Yeah. And these are human subjects. And they would measure the brain activity, and the artificial intelligence would be able to tell them with 90% accuracy what they were listening to. And this is the infancy of that type of technology. And I need to make this clear as well. This Elon Musk, okay? I mean, this isn't your crazy Uncle Ed telling you what he has read on some, deep web outlet that has zero credibility and is simply written by somebody else's even weirder and crazier Uncle Ed, right? I mean, this is the founder and owner of Tesla, valued on Wall Street as of January at $773 billion. He's the founder and owner of Tesla. He's the founder and owner, exactly, of SpaceX.
My God.
He's the owner and owner of SpaceX, founder and owner of Neuralink, all billion-dollar companies. And he is he's the richest man in all of the world. And he was named the richest. Depending on what day it is, because it keeps going back from Bezos to Elon, because he was in second place with Bill Gates for many, many months, and now he's going back and forth as the richest man. And so the richest man in the world is making radical advances for brain-to-computer interfaces to put within humans, already successful trials with simians, with monkeys, and looking to start his first trials with humans by the end of this year.
Let me say this.
This is what's crazy.
This is what I find terrifying, really terrifying in what you're saying, and this is why you're so important. I remember when credit cards, I'm old enough to remember when credit cards, they had TV shows on how to use and what a credit card was. And I remember my dad saying, that's ridiculous. That's like controlling our money. And I says, what you talking about? Let me tell you something. They don't want cash in our world anymore. And I've gone from having cash and traveling, and now I just swipe the card. $2 bag of peanuts, I'll swipe my card rather than give money. So the power of commerce to change the attitude of the mindset of society has already been proven. How many, you're wearing a mask. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. And you go to enough stores and people say, where's your mask? You comply. You end up complying with the society. And what these guys are depending on, I really believe this, is that they will, you're talking about the 50 million that doesn't believe like us. There is their seed bed, and they'll make it so normal for this to happen that when it comes our turn, it will be very difficult. And I mean, the mark of the beast, and I was thinking with these monstrous men going around with a stamp, you come here and we're going to... That is not how it's going to work. They are going to come in the most wonderful concepts of how this will change your world. You can see better, you can think better, you'll never be sleepy. We'll do all of these things for you. And I fear without a voice that's strong in the church, and this is what terrifies me. We don't have a strong enough voice unless God does something to stand up as a resistance against this overwhelming technology wave that's coming at us.
Can you
Hello?
hear me okay, Philip?
Yeah, yeah.
There you are.
Yes,
Okay. And they're going to it's always pitched through rose-colored glasses.
absolutely.
Because the short-term goals of Neuralink are wonderful. Everybody can get on board with it. If you can take this implant, which is not going to be a radically invasive surgery, a very minor surgery, their goals are to treat, various different brain disorders, such as Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease, and then to move from there to help amputees and restore they believe they're going to be able to restore the ability to see, to talk, to listen for the deaf.
Irresistible.
It's very rose colored. I mean, it is wonderful. These future technologies that are going to be used for evil, there's going to be a lot of wonderful things that they can be used for too. But it's what's the end game of these things. And speaking of the end game, Elon Musk has absolutely made it abundantly clear that the overall ambition of Neuralink is to achieve symbiosis with artificial intelligence. That's what he's been on the record saying that
Seamless
as
integration.
technology. Exactly. Truly a transhuman race. Taking the word trans to a whole new level, right? And it's just like becoming one with something else, just like it was in Genesis chapter 6, whenever they merged with those spiritual beings. The sons of God come down, taking the daughters of Eve by force. And what's so terrifying about this is I remember sitting listening to my former boss, right? And he had just gotten back from Barcelona, Spain, with two other guys on the team. And they were sitting there and listening to Masayoshi Son, okay? And he goes back and forth as the first or second richest man in all of Japan. Very, very prominent figure, very wealthy. He actually, for many, many years, and has owned, and he actually still at this moment owns a company called ARM, A-R-M. ARM designs the architecture behind chips in telephones. And so he owned every single chip in 99.9% of all phones. And I say that 0.1 because there was some really weird off-brand phone that no one had ever even heard of that didn't happen to have this chip. So very, very successful man. And he works with the Saudi Arabian government, has one particular fund called the Vision Fund with over $100 billion into it, primarily coming from the Saudi Arabian government, with the sole purpose of investing into AI, to achieve the singularity, as they call it. And so he's speaking in Barcelona, Spain, and he is saying that at the current rate that technology is advancing, current artificial intelligence will be equal to that of man by the year 2029. That's 8 years away. That's a lot of advancement in 8 years. Now, what I mean by that of equal of man, my goodness, Google is a lot smarter than me right now. I don't know a question. I ask the search engine, right? It pops up, so it's smarter than me. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about artificial intelligence being able to think, to reason, to create, to advance, to grow. That like a human being, something that the world has never seen that we know of.
Yeah,
by themselves.
Growing by itself. In other words, taking over its own mind and then developing itself beyond its creator's ability.
That's right.
That's
and
insane.
Not only Masayoshi Son, not only Elon Musk, not only Ray Kurzweil, and I talk about these billionaires because the billionaires, they do control the world. Yes, they do set the course. I mean, God is sovereign over all. And I understand that, but it's the billionaires that move this world into the demonic pool, right? I mean, think about Google, think about Facebook, think about these other entities. And so Masayoshi Son is 2029, equal to that of man. But then he says, and this is the general consensus with the technology futurists, that around the year 2040, that AI will achieve that of the singularity, and that is whenever the intelligence far surpasses that of a human. And for example, Albert Einstein might have had an IQ around 200. Masayoshi Son in Barcelona, Spain was saying in this day that AI would have an intelligence of around 10,000. gets referred to as super intelligence, the type of intelligence that human beings worship. Okay. And I believe that that is what they will do
Oh my
one
God.
day. And he was saying that everything you see, right now, there's like 7 or 8 billion chips in the world that can collect and transfer data. He said by the year 2040, he believes that there's going to be around 1 trillion chips in the world, which would allow every single person in the world to have over 100 connected devices to the internet.
Oh my
And he
God.
goes, and in that day of super intelligence, you will have chips within even your shoes. And you, with an individual of a IQ of 130, if you're lucky, will be stepping on super intelligence. But the in this time of complete connectivity, it's called, there will be chips in everything, being able to collect data and analyze it in real time and send it to something that these people at these major conferences were calling a global brain. How ominous of a word is that, sending it to a global brain? And it's good, we're going to be able to connect the entire world because people like Elon Musk and One World Summit are creating and sending something called LEO satellites into space. And these
Yeah.
satellites are literally creating a web around the entire globe
The entire
for the
world.
connected devices to be able to send the information to a global brain. And there will be someone or an entity that will know what is happening throughout the entire world, basically in real time. It'll be an absolutely unbelievable world. And just to give this perspective, I know that Elon Musk has gotten permission to send, I think it's up to 27,000 LEO satellites into the sky within the next 10 or 15
Thus,
years.
thus,
And he's been given permission. Now,
SpaceX.
what's crazy? SpaceX.
That, so he's
What's
he's now
crazy about
using
that? Because SpaceX is,
his own production
go ahead.
of rockets to send his satellites into space.
Yes, these
Well,
LEO
well,
satellites, these low Earth orbiting.
Lord, yeah, and if you think this isn't happening, folks, let me explain to you. Do you know that the government, every time you touch your phone, is recorded? Every conversation is recorded already. That's happening today. So what Zach's talking about is this is going to be, what's happening today is nothing to what's going to be in your lifetime. In your lifetime. Tell me about one thing I'm fascinating about, and I don't know anything about it, and I don't know if it's a business opportunity or a terrorizing opportunity, and that is cryptocurrency. Explain.
Sure.
Will someone please tell me what a cryptocurrency is? What is it?
Well, that's a long conversation, but in the most simplest terms, it's
Make it simple.
An alternate currency that is largely deregulated and apart from any country. So it is not associated with the ruble, the yen, the dollar. It is unregulated. So therefore, if there, hypothetically speaking, if there was a collapse, well, Bitcoin would not necessarily collapse with the dollar or with the ruble or with the yen. It is by itself. It is a currency. It is every single currency. There's about 4,000 different cryptocurrencies. Each cryptocurrency does have a different purpose. One of the similarities is to be used as a currency, but every single cryptocurrency has a different blockchain connected to it. Now, I know I'm getting deep, so I don't know. I probably shouldn't go too far into this part, but it's unique, every one. And the different blockchains behind different cryptocurrencies will show you what they can be utilized for in the real world, like a cryptocurrency called Ripple, which its sign is like XRP. The blockchain behind it will make it very suitable for banks and banking systems. Actually, a lot of banks in Asia have started to use transferring technology created by Ripple. But it is a currency that currently is, it's like 50 cents per coin. Same with Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin or any of the others. But cryptocurrency is here to stay. It is. Just
So it's not
about
a
2 weeks
fad.
ago, it's not a fad. No, I do not believe that for a second. Cryptocurrency, I mean, just 2 weeks ago, Tesla, they came out into the public and said, we just bought $1.5 billion of cryptocurrency. And in the very near future, you will be able to use cryptocurrency to buy any of our cars in our fleet. And what that did was it established cryptocurrency even more. It validated it. Because if people don't understand, I think it's a fact. Bitcoin has a nearly 1 trillion dollar market cap, and that's just one singular cryptocurrency. Around 60 million people in the United States own cryptocurrency. Did you know that? I told that to
No,
my dad, and he just couldn't believe
that's
me. I showed him the
60
study.
million?
Almost 60 million individuals. Now, I should clarify. So the study, based on trends, was last done in 2019, and in 2019, we know that there was over 40 million people that own cryptocurrency in the United States alone.
And it's
And if
gone
the
up since
current
way up.
trend simply continued, we'd be at over 60 million today, and we
Yeah,
absolutely
it's higher than
are.
that. It's the curve. The
Yes,
curve is
it very
higher than
likely
that.
is.
That's
More people right now are investing into cryptocurrency than precious metals. And as more people feel less stable in the dollar, many are putting their money into cryptocurrencies. Actually, polls showed that the main reason people buy cryptos are for investment purposes, like stocks on Wall Street, stonks, they only go up. And also nearly 26% that own crypto say they do so for the purpose of storing their money outside of American banking institutions. And just since Tesla announced this, Apple Pay. Apple Pay, there's an article I gave your team. Apple Pay can now be used to spend Bitcoin. Apple just got on board. Apple Pay, you got to understand, Apple Pay has over 383 million users worldwide. The same week, Visa, which used to be vehemently opposed to Bitcoin,
yeah.
well, Visa now reveals Bitcoin and crypto banking roadmap amid race to reach network of 70 million. This is when I think that should really turn heads. BlackRock just got involved. Now, I understand, and because I asked around, that there are many people that actually don't know what BlackRock is because they're not in that world. So a little bit about BlackRock. BlackRock Incorporated is an American multinational investment management corporation. Big tongue tire. And it's based in New York City. It was founded in 1988. And it was initially a risk management and fixed income institution asset manager. Now, BlackRock, this is what you need to know. BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager. So we're not dealing with like some mom and pops. BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager, and it manages, get ready for this, 8.67 trillion. That's a T, trillion in assets under management as of January 2021. And they announced last week that they have started dabbling in Bitcoin. The largest asset manager in the world started dabbling in Bitcoin. And I know that we're running out of time, so I won't actually read that article, but it was Rick Ryder, the CIO of BlackRock, on air stating that they have begun diversifying people's portfolios into that of Bitcoin. So it was Tesla, then it was Apple Pay, then it was Visa, and now BlackRock. You see what Elon Musk did, being
Dominoes.
one of the first major blue chip companies to do this, so to speak. He showed that it's reasonable to convert 8% of your company's cash reserves into crypto. And now that he's done that, countless others. And you said it was like dominoes. And that reminds me of a quote from Tyler Durden, and I have it. And it says this. Tyler Durden quote, it says, this week's mass announcements is the dam breaking down of adoption. That's what's taking place.
Oh my goodness.
And can I tell you something?
Goodness.
The bankers hate it. JP Morgan,
Sure.
they all hate it.
Oh yeah, this
I get it.
This is making them obsolete like the steam engine.
Yes.
This is
But within,
bypassing
I
them.
found a couple of gold nuggets that from JP Morgan, where they revealed what they really think of cryptocurrency. So they don't like it because it's going to affect them. But what do they really think? If they didn't work for JP Morgan, if the dollar wasn't, what do they think? Listen to this quote. All right, let me find it real quick for you. It's an important quote.
Incredible, folks.
This
I
is
hope you're watching
JP
this.
Morgan. Says this. Relative to any other asset class or portfolio hedge, cryptocurrencies would uniquely protect portfolios against a simultaneous loss of faith in a country's currency and its payment system because they are produced and they circulate outside of conventional and regulated channels. Here's another quote. It says this, as insurance. So JP Morgan itself admitted that cryptocurrency is as insurance against dystopia. Some exposure to these assets could be always justified, irrespective of liquidity and volatility concerns. So most of you got that, but just in case you didn't,
Crazy.
to put in absolute layman's terms, if you have this dystopic view of the future where the value of the dollar wanes, then crypto is insurance against your total financial collapse. That is not me saying it. I am not a financial advisor. That is what they're saying. So your opinion of the rise or fall of the future crypto market should essentially mirror your worldview. If it doesn't, then you don't understand the culture behind the crypto market.
Yeah.
If your worldview has you believing that the future looks very calm, very stable, relatively undisturbed, things are, on the mend type of future, well, that worldview would suggest that the crypto market might actually decrease rather than increase, because it really is based on the faith in the dollar bill, which, as we know, the faith of the dollar bill is not backed by anything. It has no intrinsic value. The only thing upholding it is faith in the dollar.
Let me say this. The pandemic has caused America to print about $6 trillion. This last giveaway of 1.9 trillion the other day. You cannot print $6 trillion or pounds or rubles or any currency without the currency value going down. You cannot do it. You cannot flood the market with that amount of dollars without it having an impact on the value of the dollar. And oh my goodness, you're scaring me, Zach.
And I know that we have a few more minutes left, and I want to get quickly to the government section.
Listen,
I want to say this.
We've taken off the back end of the program, so we've got a couple more minutes, so we're good.
Oh, and so I'll say this, and if you hold more of a Christian worldview, like myself, and because we have a Christian worldview, and then everybody's a little different with the worldview. And I'm a conservative, fundamentalist. That's my Christian worldview, right? Mm-hmm. I do believe that things are going to get progressively worse. I'm a premillennial, so things are going to progressively get better and better. They're going to get worse and worse until Jesus Christ comes and establishes his rule and reign. So that's my worldview. And so if you filter your worldview through more of a historic premillennial standpoint like myself, then that would suggest that the world, like I said, is going to become more dystopic, more unstable, quite disturbed, causing things like cryptocurrency to become more stable. But I wanted to say this. This was very interesting. So now we have blue chip companies involved. The adoption of Bitcoin has taken place. I'm not saying that Bitcoin isn't going to devalue, but this is not financial advice, okay? But I do think Bitcoin will go over 100,000 at one point in time. Elon Musk has proved that you can take 8% of your cash reserves, like I said. If every Fortune 500 company divested 1% and invested into Bitcoin, 1%, Bitcoin would go up to almost 100,000 right then and there. And I think that day is coming. I really do.
That's coming. Absolutely coming.
It is. And so I was telling my co-host of my show, Andrew Bellers, last week, I said, the next big thing coming this year is a major blue chip company offering to pay their employees in Bitcoin if they choose to. So as I continue to research that week, while not a blue chip company, which I still believe is coming, I came across the information that a resolution in Miami proposed by the mayor with the support of the city's commissioners, they have agreed to pay their government employees in Bitcoin rather than the US dollar if the employee wants that. A government in the United States is offering to pay their citizens with something other than the dollar. The commissioners even supported the idea of investing city treasury into Bitcoin, and that the people of the city could even pay their taxes in cryptocurrency. This is the United States of America. I actually have that video, Philip, of Miami Mayor Francis Suarez talking about it. If you'd like to play it.
Sure, yeah. Do we have that, Philip? We don't have it. We don't have it ready. Listen,
Okay.
we've got 2 minutes left. We've taken off the back end of the show to give us this 2 minutes. I want you watching me just now to get in contact with Zach Drew. He knows things that he can't say on air. And you need to get in contact with him today, because information is safety and power. And how you get in contact with Zach, give us your web address, or how can we get in contact with you, Zach?
Yes. So the ministry's name is IGBY, which stands for I Go Before You. Our email address is IGBYINT for international, IGBYINT@gmail.com. You can contact us like that.
Okay. Or they can go, is it ZachDrewShow.com available also?
Yep, go there. That's right.
That's
and
simpler.
everything will be there.
ZachDrewShow.com. And if you get in contact with him, we were talking before the program, I encouraged him to put some of the things that he can't speak about on TV down on a piece of paper and send it to you. So you need to watch him on CTN every Monday morning at 7:30 Eastern, on Monday mornings Eastern time. Zach, every time you come on here, you give me so much stuff to think about and pray about and ponder. And as we see that day approaching, let me tell you something. Men like Zach Drew will become more and more critical in our lives, because I'm so busy with all the other stuff, the mission work that I do and all this stuff. And his calling is to be a watchman, looking and watching and seeing where it's going. And Zach, thank you so much. Please promise you'll come back again sooner than the last time. I need you back here more often.
Okay.
Because it is so important. We love you, Zach. Thank you for watching Daily Faith today. Time is gone. We love you. God bless. Bye-bye.